at the right time because please enter your.
All right.
Thank you. Please announce yourself.
Give me a replay, gang, if you're watching the replay. Hope everybody's feeling
All
good this morning.
participants are muted.
My name is Haziq
Entry
Ali.
and exit tones are off.
I'm a revenue acceleration coach, a self-esteem development fanatic, starting with my own. And I am the founder and the chief education officer of the Kaizen Academy. If you look there in my profile pic, you'll see like a whole description of this week's Kaizen Academy class. We've been doing a series called Prospects on Demand. And the first week we talked about how to find qualified, ready to buy prospects, anywhere. We talked about in the second class, we discussed this whole idea of, how do you raise skepticism? Because, when you start off, you're talking to your family and friends. Pretty easy because they already trust you. They already know who you are. Molly Mall in the house. Hey, Miss McKenzie. Stewart's in the building. Mimi, y'all just got that address for your coloring book. Don't forget, if you want to order Color Me Millionaire, just go to the website and grab the world's first visualization and affirmation coloring book. You gotta love it. Yeah, Chanel, what's up? What's up? Okay, everybody checking in now. Hey, I love it. I love it. Karana made it in. All right, Morose. Earl the Pearls in the house. My man Spoon. So this upcoming week, what we're talking about is how to set appointments. I'm always talking about this revenue acceleration cycle, right? And how it starts off with leads. Then from there, you go to either meaningful conversation or appointments. So sometimes you go from lead to appointment and then meaningful conversation. And then after that, presentation and then conversion and follow up, then upsell, right? You always hear me talk about these 7 steps to the revenue acceleration cycle. Because obviously at the end, when it's time for you to upsell, all your current customers become what? Leads again. And you're able to start the process over. But many of us don't know how to set appointments. And so this Saturday, that's what we're going to focus on. Instead of you paying a little $29 for the class, a little $35 for the class, I highly suggest that many, many, many of you may want to come on and join the academy. I think you're going to have a ball with this, but we'll finish talking about that tomorrow. The class isn't until Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And of course, you get the replay link if you can't be there live. Nadiva, did you get what I just now wrote you? Nadiva took one of our concepts. I hope she don't mind me sharing this, but she took one of our concepts. And the reason why I always tell you to turn in your homework to me is because sometimes we'll put our own little sauce on something and it'll completely alter the purpose of it. So Nadiva did that and I fixed it for her in her inbox. I hope you got that, Queen, because that is what I am here for. You hear me? Everybody give me emotional intelligence and a share if you're ready for this morning. Give me a emotional intelligence and a share. Give me emotional intelligence and a share. Let's get busy. Emotional intelligence and a share. Emotional intelligence. Studies have shown, people used to think when I was a little kid that it was all about EQ. Coach Carvel in the house, Mama Shay in the building. You owe me a return call, Mama Shay. Alexis made it in this morning. Good, good, good. Okay. Yeah. A lot of people think it's about IQ. When I was a little kid, it was all about these intelligence quotients, right? But a lot of studies have shown lately that people with average IQ outperform people with superior IQ, people who have these high IQs. And so what a lot of the knowledge of today has pointed towards is that there's a missing factor here that most people don't talk about, and that is emotional intelligence. They say it's a much more accurate predictor of success. And even though emotional intelligence is hard to describe, my therapist gave me this book, right? It's called SOS. And it helps you to deal with anxiety, with anger, with depression. It's an amazing book. It's just amazing. Sometimes I post screenshots from it in my stories, and everybody will write me like, what book is this? I'm talking about the book uses cartoons. It's just a phenomenal book. It will change you. It will change you because it helps you raise your awareness, right? But one of the things that the book talks about is that there are 5 different levels of emotional intelligence. The first level is being able to identify your own emotions. Being able to identify your own emotions. Now, why is that a big deal, y'all? That's a big deal because a lot of times we don't even know how we feel. That's why one of the first things that y'all see that? My bad. Y'all see that? That's one of the first things my therapist had me do was download what's called a feeling wheel. If anybody wants the feeling wheel, then reach out to me and I'll get it to you. The feeling wheel is amazing because it lets you see the emotion that you have and what unmet need that emotion is coming from. You need to be able to name it to control it. You get what I mean? That's why some people say you were given a different name when you were stolen from your country. If you are, African American like me, they changed your name and whatnot because to name something is to control that thing. Power is to be able to define the thing and make it act in accordance with your will. You get what I mean? And so you need to be able to name the emotion. And so that's why I put that up there in the corner. That's called a feeling wheel. So I think you're going to love that. So the first level is being able to identify your emotion. The second level is being able to manage your emotions. The third level is being able to identify emotions in other people. What are they going through? The fourth level is being able to manage relationships. And then the fifth level is, the final level where you're able to motivate yourself to do the things you know you need to do. I mean, think about it. When a person smokes some crack, it's because they feel like smoking some crack. When they go to Burger King, it's not because they think Burger King is mad nutritious and that the Burger King food is just going to have them on top of the world if they can just eat this a year straight. No, they don't feel like cooking. You get what I'm saying? So what if you had the emotional intelligence to be able to motivate yourself to do the things that you need to do? It's like your head and your heart have synced up and become one. Am I making sense? That's high emotional intelligence. And what the book talks about is how a lot of us don't realize there's an ABCs of emotion. Somebody say ABCs. It goes like this: activating event, then it comes belief and self-talk, then comes consequences. Activating event, belief or self-talk, and then consequences. Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because when people do not have emotional intelligence, they skip straight from A to C. The activating event, which is a lot of times something unpleasant, like a trigger moment, and then they'll skip the consequences. What are the consequences? Bad health, disease is dis-ease. What are the consequences? Losing relationships. Now, all of a sudden, you're single because you can't deal with conflict resolution. Nobody ever taught you conflict resolution. What are the consequences? Losing a job, your bank account being empty because you don't have the ability to motivate yourself to do the things you know you need to do. And a lot of times when we skip from activity to consequence, it's because we aren't looking at the B in the middle, our belief, our self-talk. Many of us have these ideas that we think I should, he or she should, or the world should, or I must, he or she must, or the world must. I give you an example. I was in therapy yesterday. And what happened was, we were breaking down an incident where, this person may have talked to me a way I didn't like. So maybe I hung up the phone. You know what I mean? Now, why did I hang up the phone? My therapist was like, when she's teaching preachers, because she also teaches at a seminary, she was breaking down how when she's teaching preachers, a lot of times she'll say curse words just to help them understand they're going to have to learn how to deal with all kinds of people that are in all kinds of moods. You get what I mean? If I'm as highly evolved as I say I am, if I'm as highly evolved as I want to be, I got to let go of some of these he or she must, he or she should. Like, she can't talk to me like that. She must not talk to me like that. He can't talk to me like that. He must not talk to me like that. But that ain't how the world works. People don't do what they think they should do, much less are they going to do what you think they should do. So if you're going to get along in this world, you're going to have to stop skipping from activating event to consequence. And you're going to have to go from activating event, looking at what your belief is about that, becoming aware of your self-talk. And then you can respond instead of react. I hope I didn't get too deep for y'all. Am I getting too deep? Everybody with me? So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to give you 10 qualities of people with high emotional intelligence. High emotional intelligence. What you need to be able to do is skip that. You want to stop skipping the belief part. This person says something to you. Now you turn up on them because you didn't pause to breathe deep and identify their emotions. What are they going through? Never forget, y'all. Somebody give me this in the comments. Leaders need to understand. It's the followers that need to be understood. Am I making sense? Somebody give me that in the comments and give me a share, and then we're going to. Let's go. Let's go. Leaders need to understand. It's the followers who need to be understood. All right, here we go. Here's the first quality of high emotional intelligence. Here's the first quality of people with high emotional intelligence. All right, here we go. They're not a perfectionist. They're not a perfectionist. Somebody say, I am not a perfectionist, and give me a share if you agree with that. I am not a perfectionist, and give me a share. Leaders need to understand. It's the follower that needs to be understood. In every situation, you got to ask yourself, am I being a leader or am I being a follower? Am I being a voice or am I being an echo? Am I being the head or am I being the tail? Or another way to put that is the place where the excrement comes out. Am I being the head or am I being the hole where the excrement comes out? Ain't that interesting? Ain't that interesting? Are y'all ready? That's why you got to be in the Kaizen Academy this weekend. This is going to change everything for you. All right, I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not a perfectionist. Let's get it, Erica. I'm not a perfectionist. If you're emotionally intelligent, you know that perfection doesn't exist. You hear me? You reject frustration, right? And this sense of failure that comes along with trying to have something completely perfect. It don't exist. A lot of times you are confusing having no standards at all for being a perfectionist. See, it's easy to be a perfectionist because now you ain't got to do nothing because it don't exist. You get what I mean? If you're aware that perfectionism will leave you hung up on the shortcomings of other people, then all of a sudden you stop being so hard on yourself. Now you're becoming emotionally mature. Striving to be perfect, you're going to be unable to even enjoy your achievements. You get me? That's right, Mimi. Mimi talking that talk. That's one of my little Haziqisms right there. Perfectionism is a curse of the poor. Here's the second one I got for you. You know your strengths and weaknesses. You know your strengths. I see what you did there, Dennis. You know your strengths and weaknesses. If your EI is high, you know how to embrace your strengths and you know how to use them in such a way that you're able to compensate for your weaknesses. I don't care if it's work or your social life. You'll deliberately choose the situations which bring out your shine. You get what I mean? That way you can succeed. Whenever possible, you're also choosing friends and coworkers who help to cover your weaknesses, who will play to your strengths. Does that make sense? Here's a third one. Self-motivated. Self-motivated. Remember I said that's level 5. You're self-motivated. If you have people with high emotional intelligence are self-motivated because it comes from within and not some external source. Okay. You know, you done got into it with your mama. I bet you still putting in that work. You done got into it with your husband. I bet you still putting in that work because your motivation comes from within and not from some external source. I'm just giving you a way to gauge whether you have emotional intelligence. You know what I mean? I dare you give yourself a score on some of these. I dare you give yourself a score. Are you clear about your goals? And you don't need somebody reminding you. Emotionally intelligent people are able to set tasks for themselves and then work towards them on their own. You hear me? Number 4, do you have empathy for others? Do you have empathy for others? Glad you made it in, Cynthia. Yeah, against all odds. Against all odds. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Here's number 4. Do you have empathy for others? If you have high emotional intelligence, you have a lot of empathy. That means you're curious. You're genuinely interested in other people. You have the ability to tune into their body language. You have the ability to tune into their facial expressions and understand people's emotions even without words. This means you have a high EQ. You get what I mean? Do you like asking questions to learn more about other people and their needs? Or are you just caught up in yourself? If your answer is no, I'm telling you something. You need to hurry up and slow down. You need to slow down so you can speed up. You hear what I'm saying? It's time for you to start showing your understanding. If your answer is yes, you must be an active listener. If your answer is yes, you must be an active listener, which means your level of emotional intelligence is high. I love that, Miss Ball. Here's number 5. If you have high emotional intelligence, you don't focus on past mistakes. Check this out. You don't focus on past mistakes of others, and you don't focus on past mistakes of yourself. Check it out. You don't focus on past mistakes of yourself, but you also don't focus on past mistakes of other people. Because if you have high emotional intelligence, you realize there's nothing to be gained from holding on to the past. You're able to remember your mistakes well enough to learn from them. Don't get me wrong, right? But you can keep them at a sufficient distance to avoid bogging yourself down in negative memories, bogging yourself down in negative experiences. You realize that regret ain't gonna do nothing but become an anchor around your ankle. You hear me? You hear me? All regret is doing is keeping you from fully embracing the present. Does that make sense to somebody? Here's number 6. You ain't easily distracted. You ain't easily distracted. Yeah, Chanel. You ain't easily distracted. That's important. Yeah, JG. You're so welcome, Queen. Here's what we mean by that. You're able to be fully present in whatever tasks you're doing. You focus on completing one task at a time. You ain't letting all this stuff come along and distract you. You recognize the difference between multitasking and multi-focusing. Like the other day, I told you one of the secrets of being more productive is you can multitask. Some people say and a lot of times I say it's impossible, but when we say it in this context, what we talking about is chunking things together. Like you driving to work and you listening to audio. Because only 5% of the poor listen to audiobooks. Only 5% of the poor, but 70+% of the wealthy listen to audiobooks while they riding around getting it instead of music. You hear what I'm saying? Millionaires, you're not easily distracted. You recognize the difference between multitasking and multi-focusing. You'll not change your goals until they're accomplished. You're not derailed from your goals by things like social media or some negative thought. Here's number 7. You're kind of looking toward a work-life balance. No matter how busy you are at work, no matter how busy you are at school, to be considered an emotionally intelligent person, millionaires, you have to recognize the importance of sparing some time, parsing out some time for your social life. You have good time management skills. And around here, we're millionaire minded. So we know mindset, skill set, heart set. It's sort of like a combination of all three when you realize time management is really priority management. You understand that, you got to work hard to achieve success. But you also know that sometimes to be able to come back to it with a fresh perspective, you need to be able to completely disconnect sometimes, right? So you can recharge. Here's number 8. You know when to say no. Saying no can be difficult sometimes. You hear me? You should know your limits, though, and recognize you can't do everything. So when you have high emotional intelligence, you don't give in to so many impulses. You don't make any long-term commitments without doing some consideration first. Does that make sense to you? Emotionally intelligent people know how to give a vague response, such as maybe. A vague response like, I'll think about it. In situations that require immediate reaction, the emotionally intelligent understand that This takes some consideration. To be emotionally intelligent means that you are aware of your priorities. You've made decisions on your priorities, right? And you're aware that by refusing some commitments, you got a chance to laser focus on some of the stuff you already got on your plate. Number 9 is you don't fear change when you're emotionally intelligent. You don't fear change. Let me tell you something. This is a big deal when you're trying to get better at anything. Some of the stuff that I'm going to give you this weekend during this Kaizen Academy class, it's going to feel like a little bit of a shift. But listen to me. Don't you know the only proof of knowledge is a change in course of action? Somebody give me that in the comments. The only proof of knowledge is a change in course of action. If you're doing it the same way, you didn't learn anything. In this world, you can only grow or die. Just like a plant, just like an animal, you are part of nature. You can only grow or decay. There's no maintain. Am I making sense? I don't know if y'all catching me here. Somebody give it to me. The only proof of learning is a change in course of action. And give me a share. Yeah, let's get it. When your life is coming to a standstill for too long, don't let it bore you. Yeah, my man, the lion in the house. That's what I'm talking about. The only proof of knowledge is a change in course of action. All right, we almost out of here. See, because emotionally intelligent people realize that fear of change is just going to hold you back. Change is inevitable. Growth is optional. Change is inevitable. Growth is the one that's optional. You hear me? Change is necessary for professional growth, stimulation, and success. How the heck are you going to change your whole life if you're scared of change? You get what I mean? How can you change if you don't want to change? Am I making sense? And then the last one I got for you, is know how to manage your emotions. People who can't change their mind can't change anything. People who can't change their mind can't change anything, y'all. That's number 10. Know how to manage your emotions. People who can't change their mind can't change anything. People who can't change their mind can't change anything. Emotionally intelligent people, like I said in the beginning, are able to name their emotions and figure out why something upsets them. You hear me? That's why I got you. It's backwards when I look in the screen. That's why I told you to look at that feeling wheel. Download that feeling wheel. And I'm going to get it to you. You know what I mean? People who are emotionally intelligent know that anger needs to be properly channeled. It needs to be directed towards situations and events rather than people. Millionaires, I'm going to give you a little cheat sheet to deal with all the personality types when you join the Kaizen Academy. So once you join the Kaizen Academy, which you can do at millionaireminded.com, then what I'll do is I'll send you this cheat sheet you can use so that you're able to manage not only your own emotions, but manage relationships. You need to be able to approach every situation keeping your emotions in check. Be confident and secure enough to not get offended over trivial things. Now, this is easier said than done. This is why we go to therapy. But I'm just telling you some signs that let you know that your emotional intelligence is growing. Maybe you can start to learn to laugh when somebody teases you about something. Maybe you brush it off and laugh along with them. People love self-deprecating humor. You tell me, man, Haziq, I think you slow. And then I just laugh along with you like, yeah, man, you know what I mean? Like, I really be tripping out here. You know what I mean? I'm just good at what I'm good at. You'll hear me make jokes like that all the time, right? What about you? Are you secure enough to be self-deprecating, or do you turn into the tail or that little hole where the excrement comes out? Are you the voice or the echo? Are you the head or the hole? All right, y'all. Hope this was helpful. How many of these qualities do you have? Let me see it in the comments. How many of these qualities do you have? We went a little bit over today, but it's okay. It's okay. Which one of these 10 was most important to you? Let me see it in the comments. I don't care if you're watching the replay on YouTube or if you do it right now. But let us see in the comments which one of these is most important to you. Which one of these do you think you need to work on the most this weekend? This Saturday's Kaizen Academy, 7 p.m. Eastern, is how to set more appointments. Appointment getting for dummies. You know what I'm talking about? You are going to see your whole business change after this Saturday. As always, the Kaizen Academy will come with plenty of homework and everything. We're going to have a ball. All right, it's affirmation time, y'all. Let's get it. Let's get it. Repeat after me, millionaires. Repeat after me. Let's get it. I am so happy and grateful that money comes to me